And now, here's your host of Shaping Success, Wes Tankersley.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to Shaping Success. I'm your host, Wes Tankersley. Today we have an awesome guest with us. Just wanted to let you know about a few things that are going on. We got the Independent Entertainment Network. If you're watching this right now, you can see it's up in the left-hand corner there, but that is what is hosting the show now. And this is actually a network that is created by me and my friend Anthony Williams. Go check out his show, Independent Mouth, Shaping Success. We're going to have Tank in the Mouth coming too, so that's going to be a more lighthearted, fun episode. Before we talk about the guest, I wanted to let you know a little bit about, why we do what we do. And it's about showing people that success is created by you. It is whatever you deem it to be. And that's why I have the guests that I have on. I have them explain, kind of talk about, give you a little blueprint into what it took to be there. And it's never easy. We always see the end results. And that's what kind of got me interested in these types of things and trying to further myself and educate people as a former teacher in a way that they can find their success and do what they're looking for. So if you are listening to this on the podcast, please make sure you share it, like, share, and review it. We got a lot of growth there. Check it out on YouTube. Let us know what you think. If you want to be a guest, hit me up. Let me know. I always like interesting people to be on here. So without further ado, my guest today is Drew Bunkley. Drew, welcome to the show.
Hey, Wes. Thanks. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, hey, it was great meeting you. We do Jay Finning and I do a One Drink Wednesday every Wednesday at 7 Pacific time, which that time's going to change for you guys here pretty quick because time changes tonight, I think.
I think Sunday, yeah.
Is it Sunday? Yep. So we're going to be back on the same time zone. So we'll see how that works out. I think that Jay's going to be doing a little bit later is what we've decided because we still got those specific timers who are not going to be able to join in. But, it's a car thing, right? That's kind of what we were talking about when you popped on, and that's how you know Jay. And connection to me is a big thing. We end up connecting. We end up sharing similar interests, and you got that awesome C8 Corvette, which that's kind of my dream car one day. And you've had a couple of them. So why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself, just a brief introduction about what you do, where you're from, and those types of things.
Appreciate it, Wes. Yeah, right now I'm a general manager of Found Hills Motorsports. I'm also have my own wholesale company, LB Auto Sales. So I've been in the car business over 30 years and originally from Detroit, Michigan. And my dad was a car dealer. So I've always been in the business. It's been a lot of ups and downs, but yeah, that's what I do, man. It's a journey, and I love hearing the revs of those V8s and those turbos and bi-turbos. It's fun.
Yeah, and that car, the other day you posted a video. You're pretty avid on Instagram, YouTube. You've got a couple different things going on, but you had posted this video of your C8, your current C8, backing out of the garage, and I was just like, oh, things sound awesome. I love that sound.
Yeah, thank you.
It's great. So let's talk a little bit. You said that you started out in the automotive business at a young age, almost 30 years ago. Tell us a little bit about how that began and what kind of got you interested in that.
Yeah, so my mom remarried when I was about 3 years old. So my stepfather was a GM at a dealership in Detroit, Michigan. And I was about 12 years old. This was in 82. He was offered through minority programs through General Motors to basically be his own dealer. So we had to move to Syracuse, New York. At that point, he had about 3 stores. So growing up, you have to realize I was 12 years old when we made the transition from Detroit, Michigan to Syracuse, New York, suburbs. We were in Fayetteville, Manlius area. And so we went from, middle-class Detroit to upper-class society. So it was a big change.
A little bit of difference.
Yeah, especially for a 12-year-old. But it was right at that point in my life where I was able to appreciate where I came from and the things that were, looking ahead for me. So, yeah, I got into the car business real early, started working there, went from, cleanup department, detailing cars to parts department. So my dad really wanted to give me a runaround of the whole dealership, not just put me up in the front, but start me off at the back so I could learn every aspect of the business. So I really appreciate him for that. But at the time I didn't,
Yeah.
I wanted to wear the suit, be up front with all the flashy guys. And it just seemed like, it was really romanticized back in the 80s and the 90s, the car business. And so it was something. It was different.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you talk about that because I think every time I have a conversation with someone, every time I have a guest on, I think about how that relates to me, and I feel like that is something that is a very big service to you that you probably, like at the time you didn't think so because you didn't want to do the grunt work, but now going into selling cars, and same thing with me in window coverings, it's like I don't install them. I know how to install them because I have a little bit of construction background, but they never taught me that. They just taught me how to sell the product. And so if you know how things work, if you know where certain things are, you can be a better salesman later on, which was kind of your goal, was to be a salesman. So it makes a lot of sense. And I bet you probably wouldn't be as successful as you were today without those little annoying things that you had to do, right?
Yeah, yeah, it definitely helped out, especially when you're getting to owning your own business and you realize where the profit needs to come from, what departments need to run well. I was eventually became general manager of a new car franchises, opened up a dealership from the ground up. So, it gave me a lot of that background and that knowledge, definitely came into play when those things, when I had to do different things in life. So,
Yeah. So you said that you had opened up a dealership from the ground up. Can you talk a little bit about that? Was it one of those deals where like a lot of you was invested in that because you had to basically, it was like succeed or you're done? Was that kind of the situation you were in?
So I've had both opportunities. I've opened up a new car franchise where I was the general manager for the store, so had to hire all the employees, get everything together. And then I had my own store. It was more of a luxury used car lot in the Atlanta area. That was sink or swim, but I was surrounded by good people, and that's the most important thing is the people that you surround yourself with is very important to key in life. So um, my partner, he worked for Mercedes-Benz. He had a lot of clientele that was upper class. They had money. This is the Atlanta area, athletes, entertainers. So we were able to put together a little niche where we were able to order vehicles, find specific cars for customers, and that's how I got into the high end market, really dealing with working with other people that connected. It was a network. So it was
Yeah.
about connecting people with different people that could provide services. And then when your name gets out there and people recognize you and they see the kind of work you do, it's word of mouth is very key, and it was very important. Today with social media, so many things can go wrong with one bad,
Exactly.
comment, one bad post,
Yeah.
and so the games and the rules have changed, and you have to adjust to those things as you get older.
Yeah, and that's one of those funny things. Like you said, you could say one thing wrong, and that's the end of the road for you. It's funny because Jay, our mutual friend Jay, he likes to kind of drag those conversations out of me because I don't like to. There's you got to stop, right? You can't say too much because you could be roasted for whatever you say, and it could be the end of your career. But
Sure.
I think that we're in such a sensitive time of the world that no matter what you say, it could be wrong, and people are offended by this and people are offended by that. And we don't have those conversations anymore. And that's what I like about Jay is like, let's have that conversation. Let's get it out there in the forefront and talk about
Hmm.
it and understand that if we have a disagreement or we don't believe in things the same way, it doesn't mean that we can't be friends and we can't talk to each other. And that's the biggest thing. It's
Sure.
like, I don't agree with you, so we're done, and that doesn't work for me. I mean, I think
Hmm.
you gotta really hash it out and know. Um, you talked about connecting with people and being type of a connector. Do you feel that when you created this, what you were doing, that you started getting kind of surrounded with like-minded people, with people who you put out that good vibe, and then those people kind of come to you, and you're building based off of that, or did you just kind of fall into people, or how do you feel about that?
Well, it's I kind of look at people and see people that have strong characteristics, strong traits. They do certain things, extremely well, and my focus and my abilities. A lot of times we can tie in with other people to build a successful business, and that's what I tended to try to do. So at the stage that I'm at now, I've got a lot of different. I have a lot of different people that are around me now that they basically focus on different aspects of business. We have people that do social media. We have people that are great with the sales department, that are great with advertising, great with marketing. And those things, when you combine certain things, you let people use their strengths to the best of their ability, it can create a winning team.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I think that a great manager, does. They get all the right people in the right places. They don't try to do it all by themselves, and they try to build that winning team, because it's kind of tough. Team thing for me has always been team. Growing up as an athlete, playing football, like every time I did an individual sport, I was like, ugh, I hate this because it's all on me. But I am a good key component to a team, and that just, it feels much more right than being on your own. But we always have those points where you are kind of on your own, because you have to make those decisions that those other people aren't willing to make.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's talk about. So you said, so we went from Detroit to Syracuse to Atlanta. What happened? What happened from there?
Well, I had some in between time. So I went to college in Dallas, Texas. So I went to Northwood University, which was automotive business school. So I kind of was directed into that field. And, the success, listening to your story and to your show, it really makes me reflect on where I came from and things that happened in my life. Sometimes I was given a lot of opportunities that I would say I didn't appreciate, because the way I grew up, all of a sudden becoming very successful as my family was, I was given a lot of opportunities. I was given every opportunity in the book, sent to college and those sort of things. But I guess because of some characteristics that I had, some flaws that I had, I abused those characteristics. And so it got to a point where I was kind of on my own, where I had to no longer had family to really support me. And I had to really dig in, and I had to dig into my roots and realize that, no matter what happens in life, you can always continue to pick yourself up. A lot of friends used to call me a basketball. I might fall down, but once I hit the bottom, I might bounce back up higher. So, and that was the key to success for me, was to always look forward and to continue to push ahead. So when we got the car lot in Atlanta and we were working more independent, it was a good way to realize that there was a lot of things you could do in life without having to have a lot of money. So I dealt with a lot of small inventory, 3 to 4 different vehicles. And, we would use those cars for video shoots and a lot of different things. But that business, after a while, what happened was Atlanta was a very docile market. And so I had to realize that I had to kind of separate myself from a lot of negative things, because it's funny, my daughter's there now, and one thing she says, everyone there has a hustle. And it's nothing to knock Atlanta, but I had to separate myself and get to a position where I could have a more successful business and have a more successful way of life for my family. So I choose to move back here to the Phoenix area. I've been here since 2011, and things have just been great.
Yeah, and so since you got to Phoenix, have you been at Fountain Hills the whole time, or have you been kind of in a couple different places? How did that go once you got there?
Yeah, so when I got back to Phoenix, I still knew people here. My parents came here in actually 2000 or 92. So I actually finished high school in Arizona and then went back to Syracuse and started working. So I've kind of been back and forth, but I had a lot of contacts out here. So the minute I got here, I had a buddy that worked at a dealership, put me to work, and then we started doing special financing. They put me in the finance department because of my background. So it's been easy, and then it's been hard, because what I noticed in the Phoenix market, me being African American, I felt that I had a disadvantage because the community out here, the Southwest community, I'm a minority out here. So for me to be able to, even though I had a strong resume with management experience and finance experience, I felt it was harder to get into upper management. So what I did was I just started doing my own thing, wholesale, got my wholesale license, went forward with that for a while. And then I met the owner of where I work at pretty much at the auction. And with anything, a person's characteristics and their personality will always overshine, anything that a person might see in me. So that was very helpful. And, he asked me to come up there and help him out. And I've been up there for about the last 6 years.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you talk about that, because I think that, like, one of the big things is, even though you work for where you work, or you are, you're part of an entity, they will come for you because they learn how they like you. You do the things that they want, that you've earned their trust. And it doesn't matter where you go. A couple months ago, when I switched the format of my show, they had talked about taking away my name, the people who were hosting my show before. And I was just like, you know what? I'll be okay with that. Because guess what? They come to watch Wes. They don't come to watch the name of that show. And so
Right.
they associate it with that, but that doesn't really mean anything. So creating those networking opportunities like you're talking about, being a good, knowledgeable person, being a good person in general, will always drive people to you. So
Definitely.
yeah, and I'm sure that's helped you as a salesman over the years.
It has, and dealing with, it's always important for me to make sure that I do things the correct way, because I feel I have more to lose than the average sales or manager or GM that might be in the area, just because of my color. Because I feel like sometimes if I was to do something that was unethical and that got out there, it's obviously going to hurt my reputation more than somebody else that may be able to rebound. So it's extremely important for me to make sure that my company, does everything the right way.
Yeah, and that will go a long way. I
Yep.
can't pretend to act like I understand that, because obviously we're from a couple different cultures. But I mean, that is what it is. I think that I myself don't try to judge people that way, and I know that there is a lot of people out there that are that way, and it's very unfortunate because people, it's like with anything. It's, I don't want to make it sound small, but people with tattoos, or people with different, they look different, or we make judgments on the way that people look. And I just think that that's a bunch of crap, because
Yeah.
getting to know you over the time, getting to know my friend Jay over the time, like, I don't look at that. I look at the content, and I think that you guys are just great people. So hopefully that changes over time, and I know that that's just something that I don't have to deal with. It
Right.
sucks because it's kind of hard to relate, but I can appreciate the fact that I just don't, I don't know. I don't understand why people are that way, but they need to stop. They need to stop being that way. So you do a lot of exotic cars, and like I said, the one thing that, Jay's got this NSX, and it's really cool, but we always talk, and I'm always like, God, I want one of those C8s. I'm going to get one day. And then we see yours, and I'm just like, the white one was awesome. The gray one is awesome. And I think you have one on order too, right?
Yeah, we've got the ZL6 on order, but that's going to be at least 2 years out. The car goes into production in 23 summer. So it's hard getting on that first year list. But yeah, I've got the C8. It's my second one, and we're doing some changes to it. I'm taking the wrap off. We're taking it back to the original color.
Oh, you're going to take the wrap off already?
Yeah. I had some issues with the wrap. It wasn't done the way I liked it, so we had it removed this week.
Oh, dang. I didn't realize that was happening. So the plans are to keep it to the original color though, huh?
Yeah. It's shadow gray, so we're going to keep it that way, and we're also looking at doing exotic rentals. That's what we're looking at now, is adding some vehicles to our rental fleet. We've got two C8s. We've got a BMW M850 series coming, and then we'll be looking at adding some other vehicles.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, the white one was pretty cool. I'm sorry that the car looked great, but I'm assuming that, we can, on video, if it wasn't done the way you liked it and you didn't like it, then when you have it in person, it's totally different than seeing it, on the screen.
Yeah, and so, because I take the car to a lot of shows, and it's important to me the way the car looks, because it looks great when it may be on film or, on still
Right.
photo, but when you get up close and you're at shows and people are like, oh, what happened here? It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, we got to get that fixed.
So let's talk about your love for cars a little bit, because you can't have those types of cars and not have, what was the first car that you ever had?
My first car was a Cutlass Sierra Coupe. So this was, I called it Monty. This was back in, I don't know, 90, when I graduated, 88. So this was when Oldsmobile went to the two-door coupe. My dad was an Oldsmobile dealer. So all my first cars were Oldsmobiles. And then he had a Mitsubishi dealership and a GMC dealership. So eventually I got the small GMC Jimmy. If you remember the old Jimmys, the two-door Jimmys,
Yep.
that was one of my vehicles.
My brother
But
had one.
yeah,
Well, his was a Chevy, but they look similar.
yeah. But I'll tell you, growing up in the car business, it was fun. But I didn't really start noticing cars until I went to Dallas. So when I was in school, you got to realize I went to an automotive uh, school for automotive business management. So 90% of my classmates were all dealership owners' sons.
Okay.
So so there were so many nice cars at the school, and the cool ones were like the Trans Ams. Um, I had a buddy that had a Monte Carlo SS, and that's when I really started noticing cars. And it was those GM muscle cars. It was the Grand
Yeah.
National. I was into those, the Camaro, the WS6 packages on the Trans Ams. So that was my first love, was those muscle cars. And I got into a lot more of the exotic cars when I was in Atlanta. So doing the Ferraris and Bentleys and those sort of things. It took me to a different uh, category, but I'll tell you, there's nothing like that raw V8 power that General Motors puts out in those new cars.
I
Those
like to think that
superchargers, Dodge, those Hemis.
yeah. I like to convince myself that the reason why you got the C8 was because you met me a couple days after you sold the white one, and I said you need another one. But
Yeah, I
th-
saw your video that you posted at the dealership, like you were getting one.
yeah, I did. I love that thing. That was funny. No one read that. They're just like, "Oh, you got a new car." They're all excited. I was like, "I didn't get a new car." But it was a cool one. It was like the
Yeah,
closest I've been to one other than driving by one. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm getting oil change in my truck. I just might act like this is mine.
yeah. I get a lot of friends that'll send me a post. They'll post their vehicle next to a C8 when they see it somewhere, and they'll shoot it to me.
Yeah, they're awesome looking. There's a lot of people who don't like some of the lines and things like that, but I'm just sitting there looking at that thing and I'm like, this to me looks way better than the front engine model. Like it just looks like a sports car. Corvettes always look like a sports car, right? But this makes it look
Mhm.
like it's just meaner. Like it's just, I don't know. It just looks cool. One day,
Yeah,
one
and
day
the
I'll
new
have one.
the new Z06 is just taking it to a new level, man. And it's going to be scary to see people driving these things on the streets. They're so fast. Because the thing about, I would say, about most exotics, most people that drive exotics, they don't drive them to extremes like daily, because people know when you pull up next to a Lambo that they just want to see it,
Right.
and but people in Corvettes want to let you know that you can't touch them. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh
so it's
well.
it's a it's a new experience. Now I have to realize that I need to cruise at 4 miles per hour, like they used to say.
Yeah. So everyone can see it. So you mentioned that you were talking about you went to automotive college. I wanted to ask a question about that because I kind of wonder, for me, I have 2 degrees. Later in life, I went back to school and I got a bachelor's degree in teaching, and then I got a master's in teaching while I was teaching for 4 years, and then I said, I'm done with this. Did you graduate from your from your college? Did you get a degree from the college that you went to, and do you really think that it was necessary? I guess.
So I did not get my degree. That's when I started to go through some times in my life where it took me to new lows. So I did not get my degree. Did I really wish I would have, because I think the opportunities would have been a lot more open for me. Um, but I'm not ashamed of not getting it. I made the best of what I had. And I feel that, um, where I'm at today is where I was meant to be, because I went through a lot of lessons in life that gave me different out views and different, things to look at. So when I was in school, I ran into some issues with drug addiction, and this was in the early '90s.
Mhm.
And after about 2 years, I had to kind of go to rehabilitation, get my life back together, change my outlook in life. And so a lot of things gave me new outlooks on life. And so I was able to appreciate more things after I was able to overcome some of the things that happened to me.
I like that because I think that people think that everything comes easy. I talked a little bit in the beginning about how like we just see the end result of what happened. We don't see the struggle that it took to get there.
Right.
And so I think that's addiction's a big thing. I don't know that, I know a lot of people in my life that struggle with that, and it's hard for someone who hasn't really struggled with it to see what's going on, but it's good to see other people come out on the other side of that and be successful, right? So
Yeah. I mean, it's a character builder. I mean, if you can go to a point in your life where you realize that, it's either life or death for you, situation that you may put yourself in, to be able to have a character change and be able to do what you have to do, even though it may be something you don't want to do at the time, but to get through to make the necessary changes, it's commendable to anybody that can do that.
yeah. Well, I love your story. I think it's great. I look forward to meeting you sometime because I'm gonna, I love Arizona. I'd live there if I could, and maybe someday we'll live there. But where can we follow you? You have a couple pages. I think you have one dedicated to your car. You also have a YouTube page, and kind of tell us where we can find you and what we can expect to see on those platforms.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So first off, my website for my automotive sales, which is really my first and main priority, is fountainhillsmotorsports.com. My YouTube page, I'm going to get back more into the reviews. That's how it all started. Then I got the C8 and it kind of took over. So it's Drew's Garage on YouTube. And the Instagram on it is C8MatriX. So the first color, people want to know, why is it C8MatriX? The first car was called Ceramic Matrix Gray. So I got the custom license plate for C8MatriX. And so that was how the Instagram page started for the car. And I just kind of continued it with the C8MatriX, trying to brand that name. And so C8MatriX on Instagram, check it out. And other than that, you can find a link on that to all my other stuff. TikTok, I do all the social media stuff.
There's some awesome videos on there too. There's it's always look at it like when you got the camera on the trunk or wherever it's at, or if it's a drone. I don't know what it is, but you do a really good job with your production. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, appreciate it.
So you said that first car, the one that I'm referring to is white. Is that the one that you're talking about?
Correct.
It's actually
the one that you're calling white. It's called Ceramic Matrix Gray. So it's actually an off-white, like a chalk white, and it changes colors. Different lights, it looks like a bright white. Other colors, it looks like a gray. So it's a really cool color, and so it's I don't really correct people because I got the color because I liked it. It almost looked white, but it had different metallics, so it would change color.
Oh well, it's a cool looking car. I'm sorry it's gone, but it seems like you're the type of guy who is like moving on from car to car as you can, and if you really like one, I'm assuming you'll probably keep it at some point. But so we have one last question. This is the very last question. I'm sure you've heard me ask it before, but really the show is about how you define success and what it looks like to you, because it's different for everyone. Like fast cars, obviously you got fast cars, but I don't really think that you picture that as your success. Having money, being successful to everyone is different. So how do you define your success? What's the shape of your success?
My success is family. Really, our lives are to the point where I don't really have to, we all have jobs. We have to make sure we take care of the bills and the necessities in life. But really, the most important thing is my family. I've worked real hard at my parents are out here in Arizona. My oldest son is out here. And I have a couple stepkids. So, we do the best we can to make sure that we're role models for the future generation coming up. So I definitely like to inspire my children and their friends to do what's right, do what's positive in life, and not worry about what other people think about you. Do what makes you feel happy. And that's really, to me, the key to success.
Well, it's great. That's, family is a big thing. And I think that a lot of times that gets kind of put on the back burner. So I'm glad that you've put that at the forefront of your success. Well, Drew,
Thanks,
been
Wes.
awesome. It's been awesome having you on here. Thanks for taking the time. I know you probably got to do a little work today. You said you had to go grab your mom or your wife as well. So thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to, getting to know you a little bit more in the future.
Yeah, definitely. It was a pleasure. And I look forward to meeting you when you come out here to Arizona. Hang out
Oh
with
yeah, for
Jay and
sure.
we'll all get together.
Yep, sounds good to me.
Sounds great. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Drew. All right, everyone. Well, that is the end of the show. I wanted to say thank you for Drew to popping on here. If you would like to have your show on the Independent Entertainment Network, go ahead and hit me up. Give me a DM on Instagram at west.tankersley. And until the next time, I challenge you to find the shape of your success.